In this question, we need to create a couple polynomial equations in factored form that match up with each of these graphs. Now the key features that we have to find in a graph are the zeros, and the zeros happen where the graph crosses the x-axis here. So there's a 0, and then there's a 0 right there. So we have x equals 1, this one is x equals -2, and then this one is x equals -6. Now, to create an equation, so we'll set it equal to y, we need the factors. So if we use x equals -6, we have to come up with a factor that matches that 0. To do that, we have to set this equal to 0. So I add 6 to knock that out, and then I'm going to have to add 6 to the left side as well. I'm left with x plus 6, and that's going to be my factor, which is equal to 0. Okay, so that's what we wanted. So I'm going to put that factor down here, x plus 6. Now as you can see, to create that factor, all we did was take the opposite sign of whatever the 0 was. So this 0 was -6, so then we put x plus 6. So we're going to do the same thing for these two as a shortcut. So the factor that matches up with x equals -2 is going to be x plus 2. And the factor that matches up with x equals 1 is going to be x minus 1. Alright, we just go with opposite signs. So if you used a calculator and graph this polynomial in factored form, you'd get a graph that looks like this. Part B, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to call out the zeros here. So this one right here, it looks like we've got x equals -3. This one right there, it's going through the origin, so it's going to be 0. And then this 0 is going to be x equals 2. So I'm going to start by writing my polynomial equation based on the factors. So remember, the factors are the opposite sign of whatever the zeros are. So this one was -3, so we're going to put x plus 3. And then we have x equals 0, so the factor of, well, what we'd put down here is just going to be x. And then this one right here, we have +2, so we're going to do x minus 2. Again, opposite sign. Going back to this x equals 0, if you're looking at it and be like, wait, what? How is it just x? Well, remember, when we have x equals -3, we want to solve this for 0, and then we end up getting x plus 3. Well, if we wanted to solve this equation for 0, we're already setting it equal to 0, so our factor is literally going to be just x. So there's my factored form, and let's say I wanted to write this in standard form, and I distribute everything. So I'm going to go ahead and do that very quick. So this is standard form right here, y equals x cubed plus x squared minus 6x. And the degree of this is going to be 3, so that means that we're going to have 3 zeros. And you can see that in the graph. That's true. We have a 0 here, we have a 0 here, and we have a 0 here. They're all real zeros. And because it's odd degreed, we're going to have end behavior that goes in opposite directions. So we have end behavior going downwards like this, and then we have end behavior going upwards like that. So that's true as well. But whenever we have a positive leading coefficient here, it means that our end behavior is treated like a slope of a line that is positive. So imagine we have a line right here, and it's a positive slope. Our end behavior should really be going like this. So as we go to the left, it should be going down, and as we go to the right, it should be going up. But is that the same end behavior that we have going on with our original blue graph? No, it's opposite. So we have to go back to our factored form, and we have to make this negative in front. So if I rewrite this down here with the negative, this is going to be the correct factored form of the polynomial in this graph. And if we want to write it in standard form with that negative in mind, all that it would be is distributing, well, we'd get rid of this positive here. That would go away, and we'd have to make all this in parentheses, put a negative in front, and then we distribute that negative sign with everything. So we'd be left with y equals a negative x cubed, a minus x squared, and then a plus 6x. So this would be standard form right here, and like what we wanted, this is going to be